Hey, kudos for stopping at this page. It's cool to see that the trend of health-minded individuals getting down to learning more about health-minded concepts is actually living up to its name. But essentially, this video will cover the regions that had a marked effect on our certain conventional form of medicine and medicinal practices. So essentially, the societies or spiritual doctrines or scientific doctrines that basically contribute to what we believe medicine is today. But before we can do that, we have to concretely define what alternative medicine is. Alternative medicine is any type of medicine, technique, or treatment that doesn't fall under our current umbrella of treatment. So it does sound kind of out of whack, but alternative medicine could be something like meditating an hour a day instead of taking anti-anxiety medication. Or it could be drinking herbal medicine to combat certain forms of chronic illnesses instead of taking pain medications as well. So basically what I'm trying to say is alternative medicine is relative to the people that you're talking about. So essentially before scientific medicine, in Europe, it was kind of known as the time of the quacks. Now this isn't necessarily a bad thing. The term quack comes from the physicians at that time. Essentially they had a mask that at the snout was pointed out and filled with certain herbs and flowers that they thought would help purify the air as they tended to the sick. But as time passed on and their doctrines became more refined, I would say, they began to use certain principles such as the four humors principle to treat their ill. Essentially what this principle was based on was the fact that there was four humors in the body known as yellow bile, black bile, phlegm, as well as blood that were in a relative state of equilibrium until a certain event, action, or injury would lead to a state of dis-ease where one would manifest over another, essentially like massive blood loss or you having a runny nose when you catch the cold or the flu, essentially. But in places such as Asia, Ayurveda, which literally and loosely translates to life's knowledge, which is the permeating train of scientific and medical thought. The spiritual doctrine itself has been dated back to 5,000 years, although it's only been in written form for roughly 2,000 years now. Now, there are two groups underneath the whole umbrella of Ayurveda. Essentially, there was the Vedic group, which was established roughly around 450 BCE. Then there was the Tamil group, which was much more smaller and varied in their spiritual practice. The only difference I would say that these groups had within each other was that the Tamil group was much more spiritual and cosmos oriented. So essentially, they believed the body was a lab and that the consciousness was basically somebody who was going through certain chemical reactions. So essentially eating and it gives you a chemical response in your body. Not eating and you get a chemical response, or even mating or deciding not to mate to, harness spiritual energy. Anyways, in Asia, the Huandi Neijing, also known as the Yellow Canon of the Emperor, was the pervasive scientific train of thought. Although it was in dialogue form, what was special about it was that it correlated perfectly to the functionings of the body. The Yellow Canon of the Emperor is basically comparing the body to a nation state that has its own governor and other subordinates that are there to get specific tasks done. So it works very well, and it's been dated back to roughly 2,000 years itself. So you can't, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? But anyways, although these regions all differed in how they treated medicine, it's all their contributions and the variation of all their cultures that has really led us to the effectiveness of our medical societies today. So, yeah. Hey guys, I just realized I forgot to mention, if you guys like this information, that you might as well go subscribe, because I do plan to come out with a wealth of health related information, and as well as mix it up and put it with other fun stuff so the information is actually interesting to learn about, and it's not just like an apple a day keeps the doctor away, which is not true, by the way. But anyway, if anything you want to comment, leave a comment, and if you actually like this video, like it so I can understand and be able to diagnose the feedback so I can know what you guys are interested in. Anyways, thank you and see you next video. Bye.